carry on so often. I look up and I just thank God. Blessed as I can be, therefore I'm gonna lift your name high. We just kicking it and having godly conversation. Queued for Christ.
Hey everyone, this is Quiana, your host and creator of Queued4Christ, and I am so excited about this interview. I am back, you guys, with another Success on Purpose. And what better success on purpose to have this one? I tell you, it's going to be so amazing. But anyways, I want to say thank you to everyone that has liked, shared, commented, whatever you've done. I'm so excited and I'm so thankful. I don't take it kindly about being a vessel for Christ and being able to get people's story out there and share their, their success on purpose and how God has called them and they are continuing. And the main thing is consistency. They are consistent in what they're doing. That way they are being successful on purpose. So we know that when God gives us that calling, that we have to make the right division and make it plain, but we also have to internalize it and make it our life, and so when God give us that, we have to keep going and not stop it regardless of what goes on. So I'm so excited today. I am speaking with one of my very, very talented nephews today, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna give a little story before I let him talk. Okay. During the pandemic, we were able to they were able to locate us, our set of twins that my dad had been praying for years. And when they connected with us, I'm telling you, it's amazing how deep and how rooted, our bloodline goes. And to see him do the same thing that my dad has doing and been doing or did, it's just amazing. So anyway, that's a little bit of history. It's really quick. And if you want to go and get the full history, I did a video on Monday about it. So you could go to the YouTube page and make sure you like and comment and subscribe. Okay. So anyways, I am speaking with my nephew, Justin Dunn. How are you, Justin, today?
I'm good. How you doing, Auntie?
I'm doing so good. I'm telling you, I'm so glad to have you here. We've been talking about doing this for a while. And, to look at him, when I tell you, he looks just like my dad. My dad was he was a professional bass player. And so when I see him doing his thing, I'd be like, man, he looks just like Dad. It's amazing. And like I said, I really just want to get his story out here because I'm telling you, he's gonna be the next one that you're gonna have to look out for. I'm telling you. So
hey, I appreciate that.
But anyways, I just want to get on here and talk to him because he is being successful on purpose. And, I know he told me when he was a child, he used to play a lot of instruments. So I just want you to let me know, like, what instrument that was your favorite and how many instruments that you played when you were younger?
So first off, my favorite instrument, that you already know is bass, which is the one you see behind me. Bass guitar is definitely my utmost favorite instrument. But it's crazy because when I was 7, I started playing drums first. So I started playing drums at my helping out at church and stuff like that with my grandpops, my dad's church and stuff like that. So drums is what I started off with first at the age of 7. Then I started playing bass around the age of 14. Something about it, I fell in love with it. My dad was already playing bass like that. And he had got to a certain point and then started ministering and preaching and stuff like that. He can still hold it down now. I still get my my moment to, chop it up with him.
Oh, we're gonna have to get him to do it because I knew he played the organ. I didn't know he played the bass.
Oh yeah. Pops played the bass. So that's kind of one of the part of the reason that it inspired me. So I picked up bass around the age of 14. And then I had went off to school, and that's when I came into around the age of like 18 or so. I had started learning how to play piano.
Wow.
So I started playing keys and different things like that. And then around like the age of 19, literally a year after that, I picked up guitar.
Wow.
And that's when I started playing. First started an acoustic guitar and then went over to an electric guitar. So, and then also singing, get that from, you know, the family that I'm thankful that I'm connected with. And then, which, you know, started and stemmed from my mom all the way up to our granddad from the R lines and on.
I'm telling
So,
you. I'm getting chills because, you know, that's how daddy was. And, you know, they used to say that it wasn't about, you know, if he could play it, it was which instrument he was going to play, you know?
right.
And, you know, daddy was one of those that he was like, he could pick up anything and play, you know, and I played, you know, I was a drum major of the band and I played various of instruments, you know, and dabble at the piano. I ain't great. Don't get me wrong, you know. I ain't great at the piano, but I
You can
know the
still hold it
keys.
down.
And I know how to go, you know, you tell me what note to go to. I know how to do all of that. And but you know, bass is just something that, you know, like I said, if your dad played it and then my dad played, that's just gonna take you like
boom.
You know what I'm saying?
And to
you
know what
know,
granddad did with that bass and like the history and the
man, you know, and I tell
some big
people
shoes to
like,
fill.
you know, I tell people if you want to hear my dad, go listen to, you know, Bobby Womack. If you go listen to Bobby Womack, you're gonna hear, you know, my dad play the bass, period. You know, because he was on, you know,
Exactly.
pretty much all those songs. So it's just so amazing to see how, you know, rooted and grounded, you know, the bloodline goes because, you
Right.
know, I didn't go into full details, but you know, when your mom and, you know, your aunt Starretta, they were, you know, separated from my father at the age of 1,
Right.
you know, and
Wow.
he couldn't find them, of course, because, you know,
Yeah.
when they, you know, separated or whatever,
hmm
and he was looking for them, and he
Right.
always wanted to, you know, and the thing about it, y'all were doing the same thing that we've been doing. It's just so amazing. It's the coolest thing ever. So, but
Right.
anyway, so when you, like I said, when you were playing those instruments and you picked up the bass, and what made you like throughout these years,
hmm
when you got connected with other people and networking with other people,
Right.
what is the major thing that you have done since then?
So go down history lane. So I mean, there's a lot of cool things and amazing things along this journey that I can say I'm blessed and thankful for. Just through connections of people that I know, being able to play on TV, and then just from there, having opportunities to be able to be flown to LA and rock on some stages, having the opportunity to play at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and different
That's
things. So
amazing.
these gifts, it really opened up a lot of doors. But I think most of all, it was that character within, you know.
Right.
The gifts did make room, but it's all on, you know, your character. That's what's really going to lead you to those
Exactly.
opportunities. And
Exactly.
so I think I think the relationship that was built
Mhm.
off the stage blessed me to be on more stages. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it
Right.
made it so much more impactful. So, and it's still
Mhm.
more to come.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
And this is just the beginning, y'all. I don't think y'all
exactly.
really understand what is really, really happening because, you
Right.
know, I'm gonna be honest, I am talking to a star. Okay. I'm just being the
I
first one to get you on my page. So
appreciate that.
I'm excited because, you know, like I say, consistency is key. And ever since, you know, we met over almost 3 years ago, and
Hmm.
you know, I've been able to see the spark in your eyes. And I, of course, I follow you. I follow all my nephews because I think it's cool that, you know, you all are doing the same thing. And even
Right.
some of our nephews have been in presence before they even knew they were cousins. You know, they had already
Hmm.
been doing in the musical field and didn't
Studio
know
sets
that.
and
You know what
everything.
I'm saying? And
Exactly.
you know, even my one of the sisters, you know, she was had already been in the presence of her own sister and didn't know it. And that's how, you know, God will bring everything to pass. Like, you know, like I
Hmm.
said, like I told you the other day, we are manifesting the prayers of our, you know, grandmother, and the prayers of, you know, my dad, which is your granddad, and
Right.
the prayers of, so we are manifesting those prayers. We are walking into everything that they have prayed for, you know.
Exactly.
And daddy always wanted us to, you know, not just be, you know, a star or whatever, because he know that our personality is well, you know, is good. He wanted us to make it and be
Right.
successful, and
Exactly.
to watch, you know, you being successful on purpose and you doing what it takes. I think that that's, you're gonna, I know you're gonna go far. Like I'm not
Yeah.
even worried. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
I appreciate that
And
too. I received it too.
I'm telling you, you got to. I'm, I don't think people. I'm so excited. I'm trying to calm down, but. So what have in you know, in this industry that you've been in,
Hmm.
because I know you do rapping as well.
Yeah.
Now talk about that a little bit, because I, you know, I can't rap. You know, I can do a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't that
She
good.
can spit. She can spit. She can spit. Don't let her fool y'all.
I
She can
gotta
spit.
write down my stuff first, and then I can. But talk
So
about your rapping a little bit.
I will, yeah. So it's crazy. So for the longest time, I was always just a musician, just playing. Even when I played for other artists and stuff like that, I've been on music videos and stuff like that at video shoots, and I'm playing and I'm, doing this. I always kind of had an urge for that. One thing I can say, shout out to my family, Chop Nation, which is
Right,
Staretta's son. Shout out to Chop
right.
Nation. Shout out to my boy Ma. You so crazy. That's family. He's a
Mm-hmm.
producer as well. So shout out to them. So back in like 2019, it's crazy. I've been a musician. I still am. So 2019, I was in the studio session with them. My cousin Chop Nation, Ma, my little cousin Q. He's another one's about to take off. So we was on this studio session, and uh, they was like, "Hey man, come jump on this record or something like that." So it was a freestyle joint,
Oh
and so
wow.
I did the free. I'll send it to you later too, so you can
Right.
hear it. It's the first time I really ever got on the mic and did something. So, after that freestyle, that was like, bro, that was something different when you hit the mic and seeing that right there and seeing how they operated in the studio. I was like, man, I really want to be a part of something like that because
Right.
I love music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I love just being surrounded by it, and especially vocally. So that was one of the biggest things that got me to start working as an artist to get out there.
Right.
But even before that, back when I was in school, all the way up north, had friends around. We used to just sit around and put the laptop in the closet with a microphone and just be spitting and just having fun and just doing
Wow.
it. So it just always, had something in there. It's just like that was always different for me. So I
Right.
think when it came down to it, at first I was kind of playing around with it. I done went through so many different names. Just try to find what just sticks with me. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
um so yeah, around 2019, 2020, I actually dropped a song called Dreams. It's not even on all platforms. That was the first song I ever dropped. It was the mixing was terrible. I'll let you know that. The mixing was terrible.
Well,
Uh
you know, we gotta start somewhere.
exactly, exactly. And so part of that in that chorus and that hook still sticks to me because it's like I told my parents, don't worry about it, we gonna make it. I told my fam every blessing we gonna take it. Cause quitting not an option, no, 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 and that's a fact. Cause when we take off, I promise we ain't going back. Like, so that was
And
that first
not.
hook, you know what I'm saying? And not exactly. So that kind of been an anthem to me, even though a lot of people didn't really get to hear that. It was just an anthem to me. And so now being able to sit with other people and get that knowledge, get that wisdom on how to move. Okay, move this way, move that way. Because my biggest thing is, outside of trying to sign to a label or anything, I want to go as far as I can independently, so that I can reach everybody in that capacity that God allows me to, and not have to switch up anything because of the fact that, you know, the label having me do this or people having me do that. So yeah, so it's crazy because when I rap or sing or even come up with stuff, I actually have my bass in my hand, and I'll be singing with my bass and doing melodies. That's really how I come up with melodies for hooks and stuff, is doing it on my bass, and then I'm vocally singing, okay, this is what I want it to sound like. So I do it, and I pick up any instrument, keys, guitar,
you surely is your granddaddy's child. Lord have mercy. You is daddy. I was sitting out here listening. When Daddy used to get in the studio, I admired my father, okay? Because I was one of the only ones that sung with him in his band. Well, me, Jarvis, and Aisha. So when I moved back from, I think I moved back, I can't remember, California. I done been somewhere. But anyways, when I moved back, I had started, I moved back from the first duty station. I can't remember, child. But anyways, I moved back and I was singing with him, and I was singing a Jill Scott song, The Long Walk. And I said, Dad, you ain't listening like you, because I'm trying to get him to play it, like I'm trying to get him to practice and all that stuff. And he said, I'm listening to it. I'm listening to it. I'm listening to it. He's calling me baby girl. I'm listening to it, baby girl. And he would pick up the bass and play it like that. Like it was in his mind. Like his mind was just like, he would play it just like that. And it would just admire it. I would be so like in awe, like, man, that is just a musician from his heart. And that's what I'm listening to you. Like, I'm like, man, you a musician from your heart. So, but I'm sorry, I put you out. Go ahead and finish your story, child.
Oh no, no, Auntie.
Because I get to you know, hear those stories, because those are some of the things that, you know, I probably didn't even get to experience of my granddad. So to be able to hear those stories from you and from y'all, it just, I don't know, it makes everything, it makes more sense, you know? Because like growing up, you knew it was just like, and I thank God for the family that I am a part of, you know what I'm saying? They always be family as well, but you know, there's always that part in you where you kind of stood out in certain places. And it was like, it's something different. Even when I hear Josh Chop, Jazz singing, and then hear me, Jarvis, and Steven playing,
it was always something that kind of stood out. So it was like you never understood that in the moment, but when we finally got to meet y'all and then hear stuff about our granddad, and then from my twin Dion, it's like everybody just alike. So and being around them, you hear that tone, you hear that sound. So I always knew it was something different in me. That brought that spark, because I literally play everything and sing as well. So I was just thankful for it. But now knowing more about our family and knowing more about our granddad, it made more sense, and it actually opened up a lot of more doors mentally, spiritually, and physically with me, to be like, okay, so what I'm doing is on the right track. Because I'm not gonna lie, being an artist is a whole lot different than being a musician. Being a musician, you get the exposure based on connection. So it's like you don't even have to be the best out there as a musician. If you connect with the right people, then boom,
you're gonna get a call.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get a call. So now you get on tours, and now you're doing that. So as a musician, I kind of worked my name up in Atlanta just in doing that. But as an artist, you have to move so different. Because your sound has to be completely different. You're not just in there just playing cover songs and just laying down the music. No, you're laying down a different sound now. And so hearing about Granddad, it kind of let me know I was on the right track, because there was a point in my life where I was just like, well, maybe this ain't it. Maybe I should be doing something different. Maybe I should put music down. And which is crazy. So that meeting you guys and finding you guys was more of a divine appointment than a lot of people know in everybody's life individually. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Right.
this song is just like, oh man, I'm happy to see the family and stuff like that. But people didn't know where I was at mentally when it came
Right.
down to this. So to know that, okay,
Right.
this is where this sound comes from. This is where
Right.
this playing comes from. This is where you can go play a gig and you think you was terribly, but everybody from A&Rs from Sony hit you up and like, bro, I don't know what you did on that bass, but boy, you were
Right.
smacking. Even
Right.
talking to Uncle Lil C, and he was like, man, when I came and saw you on that bass, all I can see is Daddy. Like, that's all I can see is Daddy. And
All
so
I
it's
can
like, man, even though I know physically I probably was not able to meet him, but
Mm-hmm.
spiritually I just know he's there. And
Right.
hearing y'all saying that spiritually, I know that that spiritual investment of him praying and investing that time into
Right.
that music is invested in me, invested in
Right.
Jarvis, invested in Steven, invested in
Right.
Chop, invested in Josh, invested in Jasmine, even invested
Right.
into everybody that is
Right.
connected to that. So
Right.
it just let me knew then, okay, I'm bound to go to that level because
Exactly.
we have family that has hit that level, if not
Right.
more. So it's just
Right.
everything just start connecting and making more sense. So
Right.
as an artist, is like, yeah. So and also be prepared for some new music coming out. We have a new single, Celebration. I send it to you, be one of the first ones to hear it.
Yeah.
I make sure you
Okay.
get that packet. But yeah, make sure new merch is coming, new music is coming, concerts, all that. So we'll definitely keep y'all updated. Follow me and all that. We'll get you the social platforms and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
of course. Of course.
But yeah,
And
so
that is so, like that is so I want to kind of piggyback off of what you said when it's
this is water,
going
y'all.
to
Just want to let y'all know that.
when time you see a red cup,
Exactly. That look, these artists done portrayed that now. So I gotta
right.
you gotta inform them. That ain't
Right.
nothing like that. That's that earth
But I
juice.
wanted to kind of piggyback on what you were saying about how this is like a completion that we all have now.
Right.
Even though and I said in the video that I did the other day that when Daddy passed, like I said, he used to always talk about his set of twins. And I'm not sure if you know the full story, and I'm not gonna really,
Mm.
go into like full details of why he
We'll
was
talk.
separated from his baby girls.
Yeah.
But when they were separated, I know Dad tried to get them, and
Yeah.
they wouldn't let him get them. So it was it was more into that. But anyways, like you said, it's more of a spiritual thing that, like I said, for us, it was like, oh my God, seeing our dad's prayers come to pass, and
Right.
to know that God is really, really behind this. And, he is really bringing everything together. And,
Right.
we might not know that he's there, but he is. And, like I said, for Jasmine, our cousin in New York, to do a ancestry test, that was kind of like insane, because it's
Right.
like, your mom, your dad, like, what is going on? Why did you take an ancestry
Exactly.
test? You know what I'm saying? And, it's a reason why God does things,
Exactly.
and for her to do that, and then we get the call that, oh, our twin sisters have found us. It's like,
Yeah.
like, and I'm telling you, that day when we got on the Zoom and everybody was on the Zoom,
Right.
I was tearing up. I don't,
Wow.
it was one of those things where it was like, oh my God, because, we were Daddy always kept us all together. Even,
Mm.
when Daddy got first married, he had some stepchildren that his first wife had, and then she passed, and then
Hmm.
but anyways, we all still was close. For
Right.
us to be 13 strong already, we were strong. Like,
Hmm.
we were close knitted, because our daddy was, he was a family man, he was a family guy.
Right.
Didn't He never like it, he always wanted to keep us together regardless of what was going on. He was one of those, and for you'd be like, oh, you got a bunch of kids, but we were always together. Okay.
Come on.
Always. It was never, a time where we were just like, oh, okay, now you go do that, you go do that. And I know, as y'all can see, that we as y'all can see with the little family chat that we because I'm talking about they blowing this phone up right now. Get ready for Deontay's birthday, they blowing it up. But
oh yeah.
Anyways, so anyways, your personality, okay, your personality is very a strong personality. What is the major thing that you think as a personality in this industry that you have to keep in order for you to make it?
Biggest personality is confidence. I think the number one thing, because the industry eats you alive. I'm being honest with you. If you're not strong and confident. But I think also, at least in the direction that I am seeing us go, I think the biggest thing is in that character, being humbled enough to serve, being generous. So I know most of like my personality comes from like my mom. Like my mom, she meets no stranger. I remember it's a funny story. When I was 11, me and my best friend, we was riding with my mom on the way to church, and we stopped at the gas station to get gas. And I remember my mom came to the car. She was like, I feel God telling me to pick this man up. Now, mind you, the guy was just in his regular, down clothes, probably just walking to the store, going back to the crew. Me and my friend, like, I'm tripping. Like, this is a complete stranger. We know this man from left to right. And she was like, I just feel God saying it. So she meets no stranger, picks him up, bring him to church. And then my brothers went to drop him off at home. As we drop him off, we pulled up at this big house. We like, wow, nah, this man lying. Ain't no way he lived here. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it's funny because that next Sunday, he came to church with his family, right? And his family joined the church. Little did we even know his niece is now Jarvis's wife.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? And now they even have two beautiful kids.
Oh, that gives me chills because believe it or not, okay, of course, that's my sister that he's talking about, you guys. And I'm telling you that our whole family is like that. We don't meet no stranger, period. And so our grandmother, your great grandma, our grandma, she was a missionary. So when God told her to do something, it was always a reason and always something behind it. And I love that story. I do. I mean, I'm sitting over here like, oh my God, because, I can see that the humbleness that, my sister showed is trickling down to her children, and I'm quite sure now you're whenever God tells you to do something, you make sure you go and do it because that it's always, a reason why God tell us to do things,
Exactly.
We have to, and I'm speaking to the audience now because like I said, this is Queued for Christ, but we also talking about being successful on purpose. And the main thing is to listen to the voice of God. When God tell you to do something, if he tell you to go left, you better go left. And go without the crowd because everybody might be going right. You never know who you gonna meet on the left side, Exactly. And that's the main thing is making sure that you keep God ahead of your life and listening to him, And the thing about it, one main thing is to know his voice,
Exactly.
Being in the industry and, I know that a lot of people could hear a voice, but it might not be the right one. You can have a deal to come to you tomorrow, but you need to pray and make sure that that's the right deal for you because everything that glitters, ain't gold, Exactly. And we have to know that I'm telling you, if you go grab it thinking that it's gold and then you get a stone or a rock or whatever, now you messed up,
Exactly.
Now you out there and exposed and the enemy is after you and gonna take you down. So that was
Exactly.
a great point that you said about staying humble and making sure that, you know, you're not getting outside of the realm of what God wants you
Right.
to do. You know, I always tell
Right.
people, you ain't got to walk around here, you know, blessing people all day and saying that you can pray to
Exactly.
God to yourself, and
Yep.
and to keep the enemy away from you, and you can still be yourself, you know.
Yep. Exactly. So, and then also, being patient. Be patient.
Yes.
The thing is, people, you know, when you hear somebody blow up and you hearing them for the first time, you have, you know, to the audience and to the crowd, you know, you just blew up. Boom, boom, boom. But people don't understand the time that people put in. Some people
Whew,
5 years, some people 10 years, some people 15 to 20 years.
I'm
A lot of
telling
people
you.
don't even know how long it takes to really just get up there. But that, I mean, also that comes from the work ethic, but
Right.
it takes time. So you got to know how to be patient and
Right.
definitely have discernment.
Right.
Discern what's going to be right for the path that you're taking. You can't just
Right.
jump on everything. Don't be afraid to take risk. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, if you listen to my songs, it's very inspirational, but you know that, you know, I'm a Christian, you know, I
Right.
believe in God, like grinded, it says, you know what I'm saying? Not my fault, I'm gifted and talented, it's the way God made me. I remember the first time I started performing, I used to go have to perform at like a lounge when
Hmm.
they was doing them open mic joints. And so imagine talking about a godly song around people that's smoking hookahs and
Right.
probably just went outside, finished smoking weed and they drinking. But it still showed that like I wasn't afraid. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I was able to take that risk and it opened up doors where people just wanted to work, but I also had to be discerning
Right.
on them opportunities to make sure I'm not driving myself in the wrong path. But it also I wasn't afraid to take risk and I knew that okay, if I can go to a lounge and not only proclaim Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, but to be able to rap something like that, imagine when I'm going into the ministry and going to
Whew.
churches and stuff, it's like those things, you know what I'm saying? You can't be afraid to just take that risk because now I can
Right.
go into a ministry and turn up even more because I was like, man, I had folks that was drinking and smoking, being able to put their hookah down and they drinks down to get, you know what I'm saying, to be able to dance
Right.
and they have to worry about hearing about killing and hearing about a street talk that I'm really
Right.
not even living. So it's like, I knew that part right there. It shows why my music is different, but it's going to reach lost souls. It's going to reach people that's not just in church. It's going to talk to everybody, but it's also going to inspire to know that okay, you know, this flow off my mind is not from me. It's from God upstairs. So it's like it's in a divine intervention to meet, to meet other people in their needs, and then also just be prepared for divine appointments. Always be prepared and be open to those different things because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know when that door is going to be open for you to have that takeoff moment. Part of my takeoff moment was playing in Texas. A good friend of mine just moved here from London. It's crazy how it works, and I'm gonna be quick with it. I don't want to take up too much time. But he had just moved here from London. I met him at a music and art store, and he asked me, he was like, "Hey, bro, I don't have any gigs out here. I don't know anybody out here." I said, "I got you." So I called some people, put him on a church gig. He started playing there. He was like, "Man, I thank you for that." And so he hit me up later on, months later down the road. "Hey, can you come play with me in Texas?" So I was like, "Yeah, I got you, bro. I don't mind it." And so me and him having a good long talk. And in the mall, he was just telling me, pouring out his heart or whatnot. And we met this famous artist from Florida that was up there. So we was like, okay, bet, just be. So we was talking. I was like, yeah. I was telling the other dude about my music. And so my boy Clive was like, I didn't know you did music like that. I didn't know you was an artist. I was like, yeah, bro. I'm kind of pushing to get there. He was like, man, I got a guy, my guy V. He works with a lot of people. Him and his producer that one of his clients, Charlemagne, they used to produce for Jay-Z on the
Wow.
Blueprint album. So he was like, man, I'm gonna put you on with him. So he called him, dude. I met up with him that Tuesday. And ever since then, he's been like my mentor, slash production manager stuff ever since. Like, so now we got a whole studio production, creating websites, creating
That's
different opportunities. You know what I'm saying? But that
that's
came from what?
amazing.
Being humble, having a good relationship, looking for those divine appointments, knowing, okay, I'm discerning that this is good. And
Right.
then that created a door to where it's like, nah, I want to help you get here
Right.
because I know who you are here. You're not
Right.
no arrogant, you know what I'm saying? But you humbled enough. And
Exactly.
now those opportunities is not being forced, but they're being chosen by God to open
Right.
up doors for me. That's going to open up doors for my family and stuff like that. So yeah. That's what I gotta say.
That is so amazing. That is so amazing. Well, I'm gonna end it here because we'll be talking all
day.
Look, we family, okay? And I know I can talk, and but what I want you to do is just kind of encourage someone that is trying to, make it, just somebody that's trying to, start out. Like you said, you have to be patient. Everything don't happen overnight. But, if you want to just leave any encouraging words to the audience, and make sure you let everybody know where they can reach you at. And I know I'm going to have all the information in the box, but just let everybody know, just some encouraging words.
I got you. So my encouragement to each and every person that is watching this all over the world, thousands to millions of views that's going to be watching this show, because that's what we speak around here, right, Auntie? I already know it. But my encouragement to you is be patient in the process. You're never just going to just jump and take off. There's going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. Notice I didn't say failures. It's going to be good days. It's going to be bad days. If you're producing or anything like that, whatever you do, there's going to be days where it seemed like it didn't work. And there's going to be days where it seemed like it did work. Never let those days define the decisions later in your career, because a failure is only when you give up.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Failure is only when you give up. So be patient in the process, knowing that everything that you're doing, whether it happens in a good way, whether it falls in that moment, know that it's all part of the process to that success. So never give up on a dream or a vision that you have. Just know that it's going to eventually take off. Even when God told Moses about the Israelites and about the promised land, notice that they went through the wilderness for 40 years. 40 years. Think about that. It's 365 days in a year. So sometimes we even complain about, not getting a specific check in 2 months. So imagine you being in a wilderness for 40 years. These are people that are getting older and older, but that promised land was still there, and they eventually reached that promised land, which means the process may be long. The process may be a struggle. Our process may be like this every time, but know that at the end of the day, you're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows, but you're still reaching that goal. And when you get there, you're going to realize everything that happened in the process from the beginning was all worth it to where you are now. So just never give up on the process. You know what I'm saying? Always know that you're succeeding, whether it's a good day or a bad day, you're still succeeding. Failure is only when you give up.
That's good. I like that. I love you.
I love you too, Auntie.
I love you. I love you. So tell them your Instagram name and you don't really do Facebook as much, but tell them your Facebook and everywhere.
I got you. So you can find me on all social platforms at Asher James. My IG is Asher ASHER _ is that you. Asher _ is that you. But you'll find me on everything under Asher James. If you want to find some old music, you can check me out at Dundo, DUNNDO, The Kid, which is also, I'm always going to be the kid. So you can find all my older music like grinding and different things like that on those musical platforms. But stay tuned, follow me on IG. That's where you're going to start getting all my updates for merch, new music, concerts, what we're performing, all those different things. So you can follow me at that Asher _ is that you.
All right. Well, that's it, you guys. I thank you all for listening. I am going to say a quick prayer, over my nephew's life and his success, and then we'll let you go. All right. Okay, dear Heavenly Father, we come to you to say thank you. Thank you for carving out this time for us to be able to come together and get together to talk about the things and the ways that you have provided for us in our life, God. God, we thank you for your love and your grace and your mercy and how you have brought everything together, God. God, we don't take it for granted, the ways that you move and the things that you do, God, because we know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called upon his purpose. So we know that everything that you're doing is for the good of us, God, and we know that it's not over until it's good. So we thank you now, God, for my nephew, God. I thank you so much. God, I know you're going to take him higher, God, in everything that he's doing. God, we know that you are going to lead and open up the path. You're going to go forward before him, and everything that he touches is going to turn to gold. God, so we thank you now for his life, God. Keep him near the cross so you can be able to say that you get the glory, God. And so we thank you for all the blessings that you're going to give, everything that you restore, God. Thank you for being Jehovah Jireh, God. And so we just love you, we honor you, and we cherish you. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. I hope you have been blessed, and I know you have been blessed. And so today, just make sure you go and you like it, you share it, you share this message with someone, an uprising musician, anybody that is trying to be successful on purpose and trying to get their calling on the go. And so we thank you for just being productive about sharing this. And so we just want to say good night and make sure that you are staying queued for Christ. All right.
Amen.
Bye, y'all.